everybody. We just got back from seeing Logan, which was Hugh Jackman's 9th time as Wolverine. In 17 years, he's played him 9 times, which is pretty incredible. I know that there's been like TV characters who had more accumulative hours in as a character. Like, for instance, if you have an hour-long TV show and you have, 20 shows a year, they probably already have as much time on screen as him, but I don't think anybody has dedicated as long of a time to a character as he has, because he's been Wolverine for 17 years. Well, really, they would have had to film... X-Men was released in 2000, so they would have had to have filmed it in 1999. So, with the publicity tour for this movie, it would have been 18 years.
Which I remember watching the first one. I watched it with my mom and dad, and I remember really liking it back then.
Yeah, I watched it with my grandpa.
So, and I remember my dad loved it, and we used to watch it a lot. The first 3 movies. Mm-hmm. We used to have movie nights, and we'd watch the movies, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, this for Logan, this was different than any other X-Men movie. I'm not going to do any spoilers, so this is a spoiler-free video. But it's certainly different. And of the 3 Wolverine standalone movies, it's the best, I think. Of Wolverine Origins, The Wolverine, and then now Logan. Out of those 3, it's the best.
Well, I mean, I think from like a comic book standpoint, we should hate it. Or we're supposed to hate it because it doesn't stick true to really anything. But from a movie standpoint and telling a story, I really liked it.
Yeah, it was.
And I liked the chance to get to see like Wolverine in a different kind of role, I guess.
Yeah, I liked it a lot too, and I'm not going to say it's the best X-Men movie. I know a lot of people have been saying that. I'm not going to, because I just watched it. You always love something when you just watched it. So I'm not sure that in a year I'm going to be able to say, yeah, Logan was better than X2, which I think is the best X-Men movie. But it's up there with it. It's just as good. It's not the best comic book movie I've ever seen, which a lot of people have been saying. It's not the best comic book movie I've seen this week. I've rewatched a couple of comic book movies that I liked better, but I did like it a whole lot. And I think that a big reason that people are praising it so much is it has a very emotional ending.
Yes, and that was the part that I really enjoyed and related to.
The ending, I think, is affecting people more. And the story's really good. I was trying to think while I was watching it, well, what's this like? And at first I thought, well, this is kind of like the Messiah complex with Cable and Hope, only it's Wolverine and X-23. But then that didn't really fit. And then it felt kind of like a Western, and they do make reference to, they actually show a piece of the movie Shane, and X-23 quotes Shane at one point in the movie. So they do have the Western type vibe. But that doesn't really fit either. And then I thought, well, it's kind of like a Firefly or a Star Wars in the way that it's set in the future, but it's very dirty. Like everything is filthy, even though it's supposed to be set in 2029. But that doesn't fit either. And it's also not a stereotypical comic book movie.
No, I don't think it would be at all. I mean, it's almost like I can't imagine that being his story, but it fits, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
It's something different. Like, it's almost like you could take him out of it and put somebody else there, too. I mean, they're just kind of using 2 characters that have been around and have been already established and then plugging them into this story that doesn't really fit with who they are, you know?
I think it fits. I do think it fits. It fits the Logan character in a sense that he's always running, and he finally, in this movie, without giving too much away, he finally finds something that he can't run from. And he does try. In true Logan form, he doesn't want to deal with it. This isn't my problem. This is somebody else's problem. Get out of here with that. And that's the Logan character. He'll fight you, but he would prefer to just be left alone. And that's how he's always been. He's always been running from something. And it's in the beginning, if you remember, before the movie started coming out, Wolverine had no backstory. You had bits, flashes, and pieces. And Quesada actually went to Marvel. He was the CEO at the time, and he actually went to the brass and he said, "Listen," or CEO, and he went to the brass and he said, "Listen, guys, Fox is going to tell this story. They're going to tell Logan's origin, so we better get on it." And that's where the origin story came from, and which Quesada actually wrote. And I don't remember if he wrote it, but I know he drew it. No, Kubert drew it. He wrote it. He had something to do with it. Anyway, that came from the fact that Quesada was afraid that Fox was going to tell Wolverine's origin before they could. So for the longest time, you had these bits and pieces of, oh, Logan's running from something, but you didn't know what. And that bleeds over into this. So it stays true to the character in that way, I think. And with Laura McKinney, they really did change a little bit of her origin. Well, quite a bit.
Yeah, I was about to say a lot of it. I mean, I felt like she was kind of almost a different character in a way. But kind of, like, it was like, okay, so here's this character, and then you also have, like, who they were originally. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like, you know, Wolverine isn't just Wolverine. He's somebody else too before he became Wolverine, and it's like, so you have Wolverine and he stays the same, but then you change who he was in the beginning. You know what I don't know if that makes sense, and that's what I kind of, you know, it's like
they tweaked some things in her origin. I mean, she was still a clone. She was still created in a lab, but they tweaked it a little bit. I don't know that it affected the story, but it's noticeable.
Well, she wasn't a clone though, because she was. Well, I guess maybe she was, but she was. They even said in the movie that, you know, these Mexican women were giving birth to these, you know, mutants, I guess is what you could say, because they even showed like
the table with all the blood and stuff. Yeah.
And obviously the women had been killed. You know, giving birth to these mutants had killed them. Yeah.
Well, I think that the characters are there. I think the movie is very good, but I don't think it's as good as people are making it out to be.
But I am excited though, because I feel like this is a good start for like a whole nother set of movies.
Yeah, I agree.
Because, I mean, it's not just Laura. She has, you know, all of these friends that grew up kind of the same way that she did.
You know? If they choose to go that way. But Fox, I know they're making an X-Men TV show, and they have Legion that recently started on FX. And James McAvoy is still attached to play Professor Xavier, so I don't know how they would. And this is Stewart and Jackman's last X-Men movies, which I said earlier, I don't know if anybody has donated as much or dedicated as much time to a character, but Patrick Stewart has 9 X-Men movies too, yes, and he's been there for 18 years, so you can't discredit him.
Yeah, but he said that he's done.
Yeah, he said he's done. Hugh Jackman said he's done.
Yeah.
So that's my opinion of Logan. I don't know if I got across what I was trying to say. To wrap it up, I really enjoyed it, liked it a lot. I recommend everybody go see it. But I don't know if it's as good as everybody's saying it is, if that makes sense. I'm telling you that it's really good. It's great. But I think the emotional ending makes people place it higher in the plethora of comic book movies than it should be.
I mean, I really like the ending, but I don't. I guess I'm saying that as far as like it being true to comic books, it's not. And I like the movie as a whole, but like you said, I mean, if I take away the ending, is it the best comic book movie I've ever seen? No. The ending did really touch me, but other than that, I can't really say that it's decent. You know, it's a good movie, but I wouldn't say it's the best comic book movie. I think that's a stretch.
And I was talking to somebody earlier about this, and it drives me crazy when this happens. A movie comes out, and everybody just talks about how good it is. It's so good. It's so good. You have to see it. It's so good. It's the greatest movie ever. And that's what I was hearing with this. Best X-Men movie of all time, which it may well be. I may look back in 6 months and say, yeah, you know what? I did like that better than X2. I'm not willing to say that right now because...
I wouldn't say it's the best.
I would say it's better than every X-Men movie without a doubt, with the exception of X2.
See, but I really like the first one.
I think X2 is the
first
pinnacle
one,
of where the X-Men movie should be. And I remember watching that in theaters. I was a senior in high school and just thinking, oh my God, no, this. And X2 was very influenced by comics, which Singer's early movies, the third one, Singer didn't do. The second one, Singer got almost perfect. And the first one, he deviated away from the comic book story, but he really was influenced by God Loves, Man Kills in X2, X-Men United, and I loved it. I just thought it was amazing, and I still do. It's still my favorite X-Men movie, and I'm not willing to say Logan was better than that quite yet, but I might look back in 6 months and say, yeah, I did like it a little better. But it's up there. It's definitely one of the best X-Men movies. For sure. Out of the 9 that's come out, 10 if you count Deadpool, it's 1 or 2.
Well, my thing though is, like the thing about a book or a comic versus a movie, like, it's hard to translate the two.
It is. You can't do a direct translation. Well, it's been done, but it's very, very seldom where a direct translate. You know, Sin City was very close to the original. 300 was very close to the original, but you can't translate directly and not lose something.
Right. And the thing is if you can watch a movie and feel like, wow, like that's a great interpretation of what I read, then that's good. But like with Logan, it's hard to say because there is nothing to derive it from, you know. So for me, I always think that the first 2 movies will be my favorite because they did take something and, you know, take the comic book and make something out of it that I feel like is a good interpretation.
Well, Logan is... A lot of people was expecting Old Man Logan. If you've read Old Man Logan, that's not this movie. It's not even close.
Well, I feel like they were trying
Logan's
to add
old.
elements
That's about
into it.
I didn't see any... I mean, Logan is older and there's a desert. That's kind of where the similarities go for me with Old Man Logan. Old Man Logan was kind of over the top. You know, he's driving around in the Spider-Man's Doom buggy and the Spider buggy, and you know, the Hulk eats him and he pops out with his claws, and the Hulk has all kinds of incestuous kids running around, and it's just I mean, the Hulk and She-Hulk have these.
Well, they were definitely trying to make Logan older, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
That's the only thing that I saw. Mark Miller is a great writer. Mark Miller Mark Miller is great if somebody is there to pull his reins in. If somebody's there to go, this isn't a very good idea, Mark. How about we scrap this and go this way? I think if somebody can keep him on focus, he does a really good job. But he kind of goes crazy when he's left to his own devices. That's how I've always felt anyway. And that's not here. This is a clear-cut story. It's 2.5 hours, and it's kind of hard to believe that 2.5 hours goes from point A to point B with a continuous arc through the whole movie without it zigzagging every which way, but it does. This movie has a continuous arc. It goes from plot device to plot device to plot device, and it's very concise. I saw where James Marigold said, somebody asked him, oh, will there be a director's cut of this movie? Like with Batman, Superman, there was a director's cut because the theatrical version wasn't as good. And he said, no, this is the director's cut. This is what I wanted to show. And he did a great job. It's a great movie.
Well, it also didn't seem like 2 hours. Like it
was 2.5.
Oh, well, it didn't seem like 2.
Yeah.
It went by very quickly. Like I was very interested in what was going on, you know.
Yeah.
It went by really fast, which is always, that's a mark of a good movie, you know.
The complaint that everybody has had in from X-Men 1 in 2000 up until the most recent X-Men, which was it was Apocalypse. Everything that Wolverine's appeared in, which Wolverine I think only had a cameo in Apocalypse, but anyway, everything that he's appeared in, everybody said, we've never seen a true berserker rage like in the comics. We've never seen him just go ape shit and lose it and just start slicing and dicing. He's always tamed. He is not tame in this movie. If you've wanted a berserker rage, like every Wolverine fan who's ever read a comic ever has said watching these movies, oh my God, it's full of them. And they're from X2, 3, and Wolverine, and yes, they slice and dice. I mean, it is
and
gory.
Another character.
Yeah, it's gory. It's violent. It's all kinds of. It's Kill Bill level brutality almost.
Yeah,
it's brutal, but the brutality works into the storyline, so it's not violence for the sake of violence, which I think some people thought it might be. It's not. It's definitely the best solo Wolverine movie, and I would say it may be the best X-Men movie, but I'm not willing to commit yet, which I have said that like 7 times, I think.
Well, I guess that's really everything without spoiling anything.
Yeah, we don't want to give any spoilers away. We do have these spoilers. This is my
first appearance of X23.
My amazing NYX3 and my Hulk 181. So I figured I would decorate our set with these. People have been decorating Facebook groups with this, just waiting to sell it. When I was watching that movie, I was just thinking, oh my God, the value of my book is going up insanely right now, and I'm not coming off of it.
Yeah, I like X23 a lot.
I like my favorite part. 2 of my favorite parts. I am going to tell these. Well, I'm not going to spoil them, but there's a part where she's outside of a grocery store and she wants to ride a mechanical horse like a little girl would. And her reaction to getting it to work is just, it's priceless. It's so good. And my other favorite part is Logan's driving, and X23, she has on like, if you've ever seen the picture of Kurt Cobain with the big white rock star sunglasses on,
they're like that but pink.
They're kind of like that, but they're pink and shaped like hearts. And she's just like this violent ball of rage, just like sitting there with her hair blowing in the wind and her little pink heart sunglasses. It's adorable. I really liked that part. What was your favorite part?
My favorite part was something that Charles Xavier says to Logan. I don't know if I should say it.
Was it a spoiler?
Well, no. They were sitting at a dinner table, and he said, what did he say?
He says,
something.
Logan had told the people that they're with, he used to run a school for a special needs school, I think is how I put it.
Yeah, and then he said, I wish I could say that you are a star pupil, but I think I'd choke.
Yeah, I did choke on the words or something like that. Yeah, there's a lot of funny moments in the movie. And if I had to give it like a star rating, I would definitely give it 4.5 or 5 stars. I really liked it.
I would probably say 4, but I did like it a lot.
And it's sad to see Hugh Jackman go, which...
Yeah.
I mean, he can't be 80 and still doing Wolverine movies. We get it. But
yeah, I mean, I get it, but I do feel like a little sad on the inside, you know?
Yeah, I feel like I wish that Tobey Maguire would have been treated by Sony the way that Hugh Jackman was treated by Fox, which, you know, he was given nearly 20 years, and he really developed the character from the first time we see him. He's leaned up against a post in a cage, just fighting in Canada somewhere, and Rogue sneaks into the back of his truck after he gets into a fight with this guy. The bar owner pulls out his shotgun, and Wolverine slices it in half. And I mean, that's the first time we saw him. And you know, I was a sophomore in high school, a freshman in high school, 2000. I would have been a freshman in May of 2000. So, you know, and now I'm an adult. I have a house and 2 kids, and that's a long time.
I know, it has been a long time, because I remember, you know, being a kid and still living with my parents, and I don't even think I was in high school yet.
Well, I was a freshman, so you...
Yeah, no, I think I was in middle school when the movies came out. So, I mean, it has been a really long time. And, you know, like you said, now we're adults. And, I mean, it's a little sad because, you know, you're, like, you become attached to these characters. And now that he's saying, like, he's not going to be continuing, you're kind of mourning something that you looked forward to.
Yeah, absolutely. It's sad, but it's sad in a good way, because...
Well, it's good for him because, you know, he deserves to go on and, you know, live his life. And experience life. So, I mean, I can't be sad in that fact, but...
Whoever plays Wolverine next, get ready. Every single comic book fan is going to bitch about you. Everybody.
Because you're not... So do we want to say goodbye?
Yeah. Okay, so we've chatted and chattered, and
we chatted so much that our camera stopped recording.
We didn't know that it did this. We bought a new camera where we can do fancy videos, and we have a tripod that it sits on. We didn't know that we could. I thought that I could just sit here and talk for 8 hours straight, and as long as the camera had battery life, I'd be okay. But apparently not.
Apparently, it does 30-minute clips.
Yeah, so she says 30 minutes. We'll look at it when we get on the camera. Anyway, we loved Wolverine. We think everybody should go see it.
Logan.
Yeah, we loved Logan. We think everybody should go see it. If you haven't seen it, please do. It's wonderful. I don't want to build your hopes up too high because, like I said, I hate that when it's just almost unattainable. But it's really good. So go see it and you'll enjoy it. It is. Absolutely is.
Alrighty. Well, we will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.